Well, good morning and welcome to another little video. So I've had about half a dozen or so requests just this week asking, am I going to make more videos? We really enjoy your videos, da 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 da. And I just made a post that I have a channel called Awaken Now on YouTube, and when I look it up as Awaken Now, there's quite a few Awaken Now things on YouTube, so you might have to scroll a little bit to find my channel, and maybe I can even work out how to put the link at the bottom of this video. But in looking at that channel, there are probably about 80 or 90 videos on there, but on the channel itself there are only about 20 that show up, and the rest are somehow in my video section, which is only accessible by me. So I'm not sure if anybody has a YouTube brain out there. Maybe you can give me some advice on how all of those can be displayed. But anyway, not to get too distracted, I wanted to talk about distraction, because one of the things that I like is and like to remember is that it's fine to use the tools like videos, books, lessons, teachers, all of that stuff, but the whole point of spiritual pursuit is to practice what you learn. It makes no sense and achieves nothing to study every spiritual book in the universe and be walking around like an encyclopedia, but have no spiritual understanding from experience that comes with the application of what you learn in those books. I hope that makes sense. Experience is essential, and experience is what you want, right? The learning is necessary, and the over-learning of your spiritual path is necessary because it takes comprehensive and ongoing reminding that there is no world, and that your purpose is to free yourself from the temporal nature of the cause and effect relationships you find yourself in under the auspices of the dualistic or separative mindset. And I thought today I would do a little video about that, and with my whiteboard marker here, if it's not dried out, sometimes I don't use this very often. I get inspired to go and do something, and then the pen's like time and space. So let's just say here's me, and then I find myself in a world as, let's say, a human association. It's not really any clue what I'm here to do, and I look out into the world in any direction I want to look, and I'm going to find A, B, C, D, onwards amount of things to become involved in. Right now, whether that's a job, a relationship, like a romantic relationship, we'll just put R for romance, a pursuit like traveling or adventure, or things like that, or maybe I'm going to become a student of medicine or law or economics or something like that. And anyway, and on and on and on and on. Right? Maybe I'm going to become an addict, like a drug addict. Maybe I want to experience, and these are all experiences, right? And then whatever it is, maybe I'm going to become a mystery unto myself, completely insane. And that's probably a good one. So all of these things that you can look out there into the world are going to offer you opportunities to stay out here. They're going to consume your time and your thinking with out there stuff, right? Which is temporal, all physical, all worldly. And eventually you're going to go around and around and around and try some of these things, maybe as many as you can, and do all of this stuff. And you're going to realize how similar they all are. Right? They just go in circles. You'll go to this job and it's like same shit, different day. You'll go to this romance, same shit, different day. You'll go to this whatever P was, same shit, different day, around and around and around until finally you just realize that you're dying inside. You're just an empty shell of a husk of a being that once had this incredible passion and verve for life. And where did it go? Where am I? What happened to me? Where is my life, my freedom, my liberty, my joy? All of that stuff. And you'll try one thing, another. In amongst these things will be things like churches. There's my church. And temples and mosques. You know, you've got Christian there, let's say, and Islam over here, a Muslim path, and maybe you're a fan of the Buddha down here, little fat guy smiling away there, and maybe Krishna over here, little blue guy, he's all blue, Krishna, you know, and all these different religions and things, and they're all out there, right? Now, the only difference, and hopefully, I mean, many religions are just self-serving these days, and probably most of them have always been, but religions as such and spiritual interests as such are doorways, right? Now, if they're how would I put this? Not accurate. If they're accommodating to their true purpose, which is to reunite you with self, which is to guide you and show you, they will point, where am I? They will point back here. Right, back to you. They'll say, stop looking out in the world and look within yourself. Okay? Any ones of these that you find that put their hand out for money, run as fast as you can. That's just a common rule of thumb. Just like, get the hell out of there. Right? Anyone that asks you for money. So, because the spiritual journey is not out here in these things, but it takes great mind training and lessons and videos and whatever initially, I guess, to learn and to hear. You have ears to hear, but ears to listen, but do not hear, or whatever the saying is. Sorry, I forgot that one. But it takes great determination to break the addiction, to break the fascination and the enamored kind of obsession with the temporal realm, the physical realm, all the beautiful colors and people and things, and this one could be better, and maybe next time it'll be different, and all of that sort of bullshit that we tell ourselves, and until we just run again and again and again into that brick wall. It's like, oh, it's all just the same, and I'll just die at the end of it, right? And all the good spiritual minds out there will now be telling me in their consciousness, there's no death, Dave. You shouldn't say we're going to die. There's no death. It's like, no, there's death. Let's just look at it from the idea for a second that there's death and you're going to die. There's my little ET light. That's the only special effect I have in this video, is being able to do ET with my finger. So don't get distracted. Right? That's the whole point of this thing. Don't get distracted with what's out there. There comes a point, you know, and you'll look at some of these things out here will be, let's say, tarot cards over here, tarot, I don't think I read my writing, and crystals, and what's that other thing that people tell me that they do that's spiritual, the stars one, astrology, astronomy. So you got, all right, so you got astrology there. All of those things also are distractions. And you'll find, I remember in the 80s especially, sorry, there's a few mosquitoes around here, just got bit. In the 80s, there was this thing happening, and I don't think it's really happening anymore, called the New Age movement, where all of this astrology and kinesiology and all these other ology things and crystallology and whatever, and people would go, I would see it, especially in women. Women are addicted and love these sorts of things. Go from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, and eventually they'd find a book like Eckhart Tolle or A Course in Miracles or something, or one of these other things, and all of a sudden there would be a focal shift. It'd be like, oh, hang on a minute. But could take years to get past all that spiritual New Age merry-go-round of heavy, drippy goop that sticks to you. It's terrible. But to come right back here, to you, to self, to this, to me, to I am Boom Shankar. Right? So I guess the point of this video then is to point out and make obvious that anything out here, including me talking now, is a distraction from looking within oneself. Right? Now, initially, you're going to look within yourself and you're going to find blocks. You're going to find self-hatred, self-loathing, jealousy, greed, envy, all of these ugly sort of things. If you're looking properly, if you're looking in the mirror of the world that you see out there and you see it reflected out there, put your finger here, it's in me, because it's only my mind telling me what it is that I see out there, and my mind would not hold those concepts and ideas without the idea also attached that my emotional states come from my ideas, and therefore if I'm depressed or sad, it's because I'm referencing within my conscious association with myself such ideas that are loaded with that emotionality. And through my spiritual work, I can learn to release that emotionality, release those blocks, and so rise up and go on and not be triggered by it the next time it comes around in my mirror, in my external mirror. But and I had another point there that I was going to put out, something about me being a distraction as well. So one of the things I love about A Course in Miracles, and I'm going to use that as a reference because it is, whether you agree with me or not, it is the most comprehensive and contemporary modality in a universal spiritual expression. Even though it's written in a Christian way, you'll get beyond that. Trust me, you will. It is the most valuable tool on the planet at the moment for spiritual transformation, and you have to transform the mind. And there's a part in the back of the course where it says, and now forget this course, which I love. And so you forget the course, and that leaves you in a place. And here's another thing. I know people out there, and I'm saying out there, who've done the workbook year after year after year. Now I've done it twice. There was a point in doing it the first time where I realized that around lesson 260 or something, I don't know what the lesson was, but it made me realize within myself how half-hearted I'd been in doing the lessons. I'd just been sort of like shimming off the top and doing them very superficially. And I made a decision that January 1st the following year I would start again, and I got a pen and I wrote the daily lesson on my arm every day so I wouldn't forget to do it. And other people at the meditational center where I was attending would come and grab my arm for the daily lesson and things like that. And the difference in what it returned to me in putting in that extra effort was incredible. It's like literally what you put in, you get out. So you put your whole self in, you get your whole self out. But there was a point after doing that where I realized that I was being instructed to forget the course, and that I was to go on in whatever way inner directed to live my life as it appears here in the physical plane, which we could say, well, it's not my true life, but it's life as I find it, and that's how we accept it. So, and if you haven't embarked upon any in-depth spiritual investigation for yourself, you will yet come to discover that the world is an illusion. It's a dream. It's just the Maya. I don't want to get into that on this video. There are other videos about that. But there was a point where I realized that I had to let go of this spiritual cocoon that I had been living in for 6 or 7 years or whatever it was, and actually begin to apply the principles post-enlightenment. I had the full experience of enlightenment of my mind in 1997 and had to embark upon that mind training then to integrate it and ground it and everything after that. Otherwise, I would have ended up just fried, probably living on a beach somewhere and probably completely happy and ignorant. But Now I'm completely happy and ignorant that I'm ignorant, if you know what I mean. So, but apply the lessons that I had learned in that in an act of faith to whatever showed up for me. Right now, faith is its own reward, and prayer is the medium of miracles. And man, to ask for a miracle is to take a leap of faith. It's like there are many times when I've found myself in a situation, I don't know what to do in this situation, Lord, I need a miracle. And I've actually got down on my knees, yes, on my knees, beside the bed sometimes, and asked from the heart, you know. And of course, there's all this mentalization of how a prayer should look. And it's like, well, ultimately, my prayer is just, wow, thank you. Thank you for presenting this situation to me so that I can learn to let go of what it is out here more and more that is obviously distracting me from a 24/7 inner focus of being able to witness to the Christ and the perfection of everything beyond the illusion, which is what the spiritual path is for, to bring my mind to perfect peace. And I hope that makes sense. So it's like the goal of any spiritual work is inner peace, whether you're a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, a whatever. It's like that path to God, that where I am once the wayfarer or lost in the world, and I find my way through the use of the principles that are taught in whatever path book thing that I discover, and maybe I'll zigzag across and back and try a few different things. I don't advise that. But it's all in here. It's all in me here, all in there, heart and mind together as one, boom shanka. But the whole point of the spiritual path is to find peace within myself and bring my dualistic vibration of yin yang, which represents the idea of good and bad, where one thing doesn't exist without the other, which is the plurality of life that I seem to find myself beset by out in the world when I look externally to myself, which will always be the same. The world is always going to be a place, you know, where minds come to experience that idea of being separate from themselves, separate from others, separate from God. And to bring those two things not into balance. Right now, there's nothing more unstable than the notion of balance. Spirituality is not about balancing anything. That's ridiculous. Like, who wants to live their life on a seesaw doing this forever? You know? But to bring those yin and yang together, to bring those opposites together into the here and now, where past and future come together, where what I think I need and want and what is are brought together, right, into the I am, into this moment, where actually all that I have and all that I need is present. And there's a holy instant for you. That's beautiful. Breathe. That was a good one. It's funny because as you begin to practice the withdrawal, or the, like Jesus says, give up the world, not just the stuff you don't like, give it all up. There's nothing out here that's going to help you find yourself. Nothing. You're already whole and perfect in here. You're just looking in the wrong place. You know? So like some of these things are going to remind you, no, look here. Don't look out here. Don't become a follower. Don't become a devotee. Become your own guru. I mean, initially you may have other teachers and people and everything that will help you to remember that. And in a sense, everyone is your teacher, right? There's no one from whom you can't learn. But the only lesson that you are learning is to let go of the attachment and the desire for the external and to travel within. There. And when you do that, when you go within, when you make that conscious decision to say yes to truth, to your own inner truth, and it's not a relative truth. We all share a singular truth. There is one whole, and we are all an equal and whole part of it. I am. And when you say yes to that without deciding how that ought to look or shouldn't look or anything else like that, you allow what's happening, you allow yourself to enter into a moment of complete openness, complete vulnerability, complete yesness, and can experience, if the mind is sufficiently trained, a an immediate inner connection or an immediate inner communication with the divine within yourself, which can look like that. And whenever you want, whenever you want, whenever you need, whenever anything, right? And every time you have one of those holy instants, every time and it can happen as an idea of joining with others as well, where minds are joined because we are just one mind waking up, or I am one mind waking up, experiencing myself as many as the one. There are other brothers throughout the world who I know who, let's say, for an instance, in close proximity, we can open our minds like that through being willing to enter into that open space, that clear space, and join together in mind, which is not telepathy or mental communication. It's entering into a state of being or a state of what I am that is already existing. It's like we both jump into a river together and we experience how wonderful the river is. And then we get out again and we go do whatever. Anyway, so I just wanted to put that up there and go back to the start and watch this again. If you're walking around out here picking up books and going into temples and mosques, I mean, I did it for a good 10-year period. It's like at the age of 20, early 20 something, I put a rope around my neck and made that kind of an attempt with life, and it failed. And I spent the next decade almost, not wholeheartedly, but every time I would see a church or a mosque or a temple, I would run in, pretty much, and investigate, and I would find all these people and devotees of Krishna that lived near me in northern New South Wales at the big community there. And there was a Baptist minister who had a little Frontline Ministries, it was called, up in the hills, sort of towards the border of New South Wales and Queensland. I would go and visit, and other people and just things, and I would always be looking out there for verification of what it was I was supposed to be doing, of what my spiritual path actually was. What is a spiritual path? Well, I've got to look in here for that, and trust, have faith. Faith is its own reward, and the spiritual path is a journey of faith. Without faith, nothing changes, because there needs to be that entering into, that leap of faith into that empty space, empty moment. So thank you. So I can have that moment of reconnection, that moment of reunion. Well, there we go. That's that. Thank you.